bend over. Alright, welcome back folks. What do we got on the chopping block today? Well, we got this beautiful old Fender twin reverb amp. These things are hard to beat, man. I'm telling you, a lot of the music that you guys have listened to in the past 40 years were being played through this amp. Well, not this amp, but one of these amps like this. They make all kinds of different ones and still call it Fender twin reverb. Silver face, black face. This happens to be the AB 763 model. It's got the silver face. These amps were produced along the years 1964 to 1967. This particular amp I'm talking about, with the AB 763 circuit in it. It's got four 6L6 quads in it. That's what these tubes are. These are made by Ruby. Ruby actually is not a tube making company. They're a tube relabeler, and they test tubes and match tubes like this and stick their name on it, I guess, but they don't actually make tubes themselves. They just what I said. Anyways, I got the amp up here. It's really heavy. I had to have my son help me lift it up here, and so I can't show you the front of it, but here's a picture of what the front of it looks like. I'm just going to share a few tips on changing tubes in these big beasts. And the beasts they are, man. I'll tell you what, you cannot beat these old amps. Replace tubes in them now and then, and that's basically about all you ever have to do to it. So I think Gary, you remember Gary, the guy that had that big ass trailer full of goodies and gave me all that stuff. This was included on that stuff. You can watch the video. It's an unboxing video. I forget what it's called. But I want to say thank you to Gary again. If you see this, I know you watch the channel. Thank you, man. I'd like to meet you again. And the people behind the scenes that don't want their names mentioned that helped make all that happen, thank you, man. I love you guys. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. All of you. Alright, so let's get on with it. I'm going to have to move the light over here and get some light in here. In fact, I want to take this back. I'll just do that right now. Take this back panel off to make it a lot easier access. Tubes, and U-tubes. Here's the, yeah, you can't see that. There's a little paper right here. Tells you it's the AB 763 circuit. And I looked it up. In 1964 to 1967, they were produced with that circuit in them. The tubes are, you know, you would think with two channels in these amps, like you got, you know, the regular custom channel, or, you know, the channel with no effects, and then the channel with the reverb and the vibrato, tremolo, or whatever. Two different channels, and you would think these three tubes would be for the first channel and these three for the second channel. Well, that's not how it is. It is not. You know, just to look in there, you think channel 1's over here, channel 2's here, so these three are for 1 and these three are for 2. That's not how it is. You're wrong if you think of it that way. We're going to look at these tubes as V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and V6. Okay? Now, V1 is the preamp tube for the first channel. Okay? V2 is the preamp tube for the second channel. Alright. V3 is just a reverb driver. V4 is for second gain, stage, and reverb return. V5 is for the tremolo, and V6 is just a phase inverter tube. Alright? And you come on over here and you got these power tubes. Like I say, it's only got 2 in there, but the amp was designed and built for 4. Here's another tip for you. You can put in the 2 most outer power tubes, okay? If you don't have a matching set like this, and you only have 2, or you only have 2 good ones, put them in the most outer sockets, and you should really unhook one speaker. I'll show you what the speakers look like. There you can see them. Fender musical instruments. They're 12-inch. I have 2 more of those over there that Gary brought me that day. I forget what they are. I was going to say Oxfords, but they're not Oxfords. Celestians maybe. I can't remember. I got to look at them again. anyways, you can run these two outer ones, or you can run two inner ones together. Don't put two here, you know, and just try to play it that way, or two here, you'll screw it up. The two outer ones or the two inner ones if you're only running two tubes, and unhook one speaker because you're going to have a impedance mismatch if you run it this way with two tubes and both speakers. So always remember, you know, to match the impedance, you got to unhook one speaker when doing this. That wasn't done in this case. They're still both hooked up. So anyways, that's another tip for you there. What we're going to do is pull these two tubes out and put the replacement tubes, brand new quad matched tubes in it. Here's what I was talking about. I wear the latex glove or a really heavy glove. The latex glove just to keep from getting skin oil and whatever on the amp, on the tube, on the glass, because like I say, they do get very, very hot. The harder you work this amp, the hotter those tubes get. I used to work on CB radio and ham radio linears for people, and they had high voltage tubes in them. The tubes have a connector right on top of the tube right there, and you need to ground that against the chassis to get the to bleed the high voltage off not the tube but the transformer before you ever touch them. And everybody was afraid to do that. They'd always call me because, well, because I wasn't afraid, I guess. So anyways, tube number one, stick him in there and turn him until it'll only go one way, so you don't have to worry about you know, putting the tube in wrong. It'll only fit one direction. I like to wiggle them around like that to clean the connections good too. Want as good a connection as we can get. And this amp should just be awesome, man, after this. It really, really, really should be perfect. Ready for the road. There we go. You like to wiggle him in. Don't press too hard because, like I say, these things are vacuum sealed already. They already have, you know, a pressure pushing in on them. So you don't want to push too hard and collapse the glass or break the glass, especially in your hand, especially a brand new tube. Alright, number three. Stay tuned because I got some other tips for you on these amps. Yes, again, I like to wiggle them around a wee bit just to make sure we got a good clean connection. Alright, I've lost it. Here we go. 6L6 quads, 4 of those bad boys, man. This amp probably heat this house with it now. I thought it sounded really good with only 2 tubes in it, and it was loud. I mean, man, wow. You could shake the windows, dishes in the kitchen, man. I could hear them vibrating when I cranked on it. So now, with all 4 power tubes, both speakers should be hooked up, and they are, for an impedance match. Like I say, if you're only running the 2 inner tubes, if you're only running these 2 inside tubes, or the 2 outside ones, as it was, and you need to unhook one speaker so you don't have an impedance mismatch there. Just a little tip for you there. Alright. Now, here's another tip a lot of people don't tell you. Okay, I should also mention, when you replace these power tubes like this, sometimes you create a hum, more of a hum than what you had before. And you got to go in there and adjust the bias on these. Well, I'd have to take this whole circuitry out to get to it. Hopefully I won't have to do it. I'm going to see how bad the hum is. But, you know, sometimes if you have went through a lot of tubes, you just need to go in there and adjust that a tiny bit to keep it from humming. Get that hum down as low as you can just by adjusting the plate voltage or grid voltage. But hopefully I won't have to do that. Alright, remember we said this first tube over here. I need to turn this, I think. Yeah. We said this first tube was V1. And what that is, if you look on the schematic, that's the preamp to this first channel over here, okay? Now here's the tip. What a lot of old time players do that use these amps, a lot of them pulls this tube out. We're going to leave it out. I'm going to put the cover back on and leave that tube out. And I'll tell you why. A lot of the old timers that knew did this. I think it'll be alright hanging there. Yeah. These amps have a tendency to, say if I'm playing in channel 2, okay? They have a tendency to bleed over a little bit. And my signal going into channel 2 can and does bleed over to channel 1. Same if I'm plugged into channel 1 and I only am wanting to use one only, the signal bleeds over a little bit into channel 2. Thus, whatever channel you're playing into, there again, if I'm playing into channel 1 and the signal's bleeding over into 2, then I'm losing a little bit of signal. Okay? I plan on using channel 2 all the time in this amp. That's the one with the reverb and the vibrato, or what does it have? Reverb, shit, I can't remember what it's called. Vibrato, is that what it's called? Yeah, I think it is. Anyways, I'm going to be using channel 2 all the time. I don't even care about this channel 1. So by pulling out V1, that's the preamp, to channel 1, that'll kill channel 1. I won't be able to use it anymore with that tube out. But every bit of my signal now is going to be channeled into channel 2, where the channel I'm going to be using. Now, I don't know what that tube is. Let me look at this. The one I just pulled out, I think it's a 12AX7 or 12AT7. I can't see it, man. Anyway, it's the very exact same thing this tube is. These two ought to be exactly the same tubes. Between these two tubes that I just pulled out, I want to pick the better one, okay? Because that's the one that's going to be the preamp for channel 2. Just slip this back over it. It's got a spring in there. The other one didn't have that to help hold the tube in. I don't think it had it. Yeah, it does. It just doesn't, the spring doesn't connect if there's no tube in there. Okay, so now V2 is going to be the only preamp tube in this amp. So everything that all the signal I send into channel 2 is going to get 100% of that signal. It's not going to bleed over into channel 1 anymore. The only thing is, I'm not going to be able to use channel 1. But that's okay, because I'm going to use it anyway. There's no effects on it. And that's just the way it is. Alright. I'm going to plug him in and turn him on. And you're not going to be able to see these tubes glowing because they're covered, but you can watch those light up, I guess, if you want to. And the amp should be on standby. It'll take it a few minutes to heat up. Like I said, I've got 2 more of these speakers. I don't know, man. I'd like to build a cabinet and make a piggyback out of this thing. Just stack this on top of it and have 4 12s. Yeah, they're lighting up now, man. Yes, sir. I don't know if the camera's getting it or not. Yeah, I think you can see them lighting up now. Beautiful, beautiful tubes. Brand new tubes, baby. We're going to be rocking tonight. Yes, sir. Hold on. Alright. Now, the hum I was talking about, if I flip this, it should be warm enough now. Flip the standby off, you're going to hear, you know, some power hum. A lot of that depends on where the volume is set too, but let's see how bad it is. I don't know if you're hearing that, if the camera's getting that or not. It's not very bad at all, man. I don't like to leave that on very long with no signal coming into it. It wouldn't hurt anything, but so that's all the hum we got. Listen. That's it. That's not very bad. That's nothing, man. If I did have a very bad hum, go ahead and shut him off. If it was very bad, like I say, I'd have to take the circuitry out and find the adjustment and adjust the bias on those tubes and get the hum down a little lower that way, but it ain't even anything to worry about at all. So I'm going to unhook it before I stick my fingers back in there again. All I got to do now is put this piece back on without getting burned. Those tubes get really hot. Well, they're not that hot right now because that's not a lot of power going to them. So hold on, I'm going to put the thing back on here and we'll see what it sounds like. How clean that is, man. I don't know if the camera's picking up that hum or not. Can you hear that hum? That's not bad, man. For new tubes, I'm not even going to mess with adjusting the bias on that thing. You know, that's not enough hum to worry about right there. Sucks, man. Like I said, I haven't played for a week. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's put some mud on this thing, distort it up a little bit, and try it out. My playing sucks so bad it's not going to hurt anything anyway. So hold on. Stay tuned because I'm going to do a setup on this telly and I'm going to video that for y'all and go with a different gauge of strings. I think that's maybe 9s or 10s, I can't remember now. But I'm going to put the strings I like on it, probably 9s, maybe 10s, I don't know, and do a setup with that gauge of string. And I'll do all that and show you guys all that, and y'all get in practice and do a much better demo with that amp. So thanks for watching. I hope that's some tips some of you guys can use with the Fender twin reverb amp. Works good. I could show you. I could plug into channel 1. It won't even work now because we took that tube out. That's okay because I never want to use that channel. I want the channel with the effects in it, channel 2, and by pulling that V1 preamp tube for channel 1, that's going to allow all of the signal that I send that amp to go into channel 2. And I'm not going to lose anything, so it's going to be way better. That's the way the big boys do it, so they say. Cheers. Thanks for watching. See you again very soon. These guitars are very well known across the country. They've been around for 50 years. They sound just as good as any Martin does. Pick one of them up at the dumpster near you. This and that. Welcome to the house that sleeps good. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you on the next video. That guy is seriously wanting some attention. And he's been harping my ass for over a year now. Will not stop. Thumbs down every video I make, every single one. He's not the only one, but he's the worst one. So let's just say, what if I put a link down here to his channel, and you guys, all 21,000 of you, go over there and show him some love in the form of a thumbs down on every video that he does. Every single one of them. Now he wants attention. Let's go there and give him some attention. The Pillhead, as you will see, just go check his videos out. And what if I do put a link down here? Would you guys, put in the comments, would you guys do it? Would you go over there and show him a little bit of love like he shows every single video of mine? The house that sleeps good. Where do you suppose that came from? Cheers. Let me know. Put in the comments.